Hi, we're the Huge Movie Fanatics here to give you a double review of Pacific Rim. He has a solo review. If you only care about what he has to say, watch that. If you care about what we both have to say, please watch this. So I saw Pacific Rim on Blu-ray. I didn't venture off into the theater and see it because I was like, it's a giant robot movie, why bother?
I thought you wanted to see it.
I mean, I did just because I like the filmmaker, but at the same time, like, the trailers kind of looked a little, I mean, they look cool, but lame at the same time. I saw it on Blu-ray, and it's gorgeous Blu-ray. The movie looks fantastic in terms of, like, special effects are like, wow. But I don't believe that it really took Guillermo del Toro 4 years to write the screenplay, like he says.
Isn't that unbelievable?
Because essentially this is a ton of exposition for they fight. It's 2.5 hours of they fight. And the action is great. The characters are actually kind of interesting.
I don't like that main guy.
You don't like him? He's a good actor. Not necessarily in this, but yeah, I mean, it's just... There's like so much exposition in this movie for what ends up happening. Like, you could write this movie in a weekend and I think the audience would still dig it just as much. But I'll give the movie 3 stars. I mean, it was worth watching. There's a funny YouTube channel called Screen Gems, and they have this section called Honest Trailers where they display movies realistically what they're about, and they said that they did one for Pacific Rim, which is really quite funny, where they say this is either the dumbest action or the dumbest cool or the dumbest awesome movie you've ever seen or the awesomest dumb movie you've ever seen, and that sums up this movie perfectly. Because like you have that amazing fight scene where the robot throws the punch and then it hits the little and like, that sums up this whole entire movie. Like, that was awesome and dumb at the same time. Or dumb, but awesome.
Yeah.
Either way you want to look at it. It's like childhood entertainment. This is built for 9-year-olds.
I don't know how long it is. Is it 2 hours?
It's over 2 hours. It's like 2 hours and 10 or 15 minutes or something like that.
I think it's too long. And
oh, certainly.
All that time they spend on the kaiju and the reasons why, I don't even care. And it's not even interesting.
Who cares? Like, people who came to see this movie just wanted to see giant lizards fight giant robots, and that's it. And you could do that. That's my problem with a lot of like the middle Godzilla movies. They put all this exposition in, and it's like, nobody wants to see that. They would just want to see Godzilla fight fucking Gigan.
I know, when I was a kid, I just fast forward to the end of the movie.
Yeah, right?
It's like, because they spend the whole first 70 minutes
yeah.
of this human story of stuff you don't care.
Yeah.
Little kids sucking their thumbs. It's like...
So, I give the movie 3 stars.
Did you see my review?
No, I haven't seen any of your reviews.
Okay. So, well, I don't know if I want to review. Well, then you can watch it if you... I think I gave it 2.5 stars. I was unimpressed. You know, for me, the robot stuff is obviously good, and I'm glad that at the end of the day, it's a shame that so much money and time and effort was wasted on that, basically. And I think I ended up saying something. If I didn't, I should have said something like, at the end of the day, for all the time and money and effort spent on the movie, it would have been nice to have something interesting as a scenario. This is what it boils down to, because, you know, that director's, I like to think he's smarter than this movie, and I just don't understand. And what's so funny, God, you know, he's not going to live much longer if he stays. I didn't know how fat he was until I watched all the behind the scenes. Is he getting fatter, or was that always?
He's always kind of looked like that.
Because it's so funny, because they you know, that one fat robot that comes onto land is like they modeled off of him getting out of the bathtub. I think they even said that too. I think he even said that. Like, when I get out of the bathtub, they just mocapped me and then put it on the tubby monster getting out from the ocean onto the land. And it's just like, you know, he ain't gonna live that long with that. I couldn't believe, you know, he's sitting in the chair, and it's like, you don't live forever when you're like that, but whatever, that's his choice. So I'm reviewing Guillermo del Toro's body instead of the movie. Well, that's because I already reviewed the movie. So I pretty much said, I think 2.5 stars, and it's just, robot stuff was cool, but it was very much like an overly expensive, overly long, just B movie.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been a better video game than a movie.
And also, all the kaiju looked all the same, and they weren't even interesting to me. Like in Japanese stuff, it's like the monster, even if it is stupid, somehow they have a personality. That's for me. And I've watched a lot of Godzilla, Ultraman, and all this kind of stuff, and and the Turtle too, and it's Gamera.
Gamera.
Yeah, and it's just like there's always something for me about like the actual Japanese kaiju that are interesting, like the sound they make or something. That one Gauss or whatever from the bad guy from Gamera.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't forget that. It's a noiseless animal.
The thing is like Del Toro has done monsters in the past. Like Hellboy 2, one of the highlights of that are the monsters.
There was a big monster in that, and I was like, oh, I wish he'd make a big monster movie.
It's like that, and it looks so cool. And then like in The Hobbit 1 and 2, he had a lot of influence over the look of some of the goblins and stuff, which look entirely different from the ones in The Lord of the Rings. And it's like, wow, he's really creative with what he did with the Pale Orc and with the Goblin King and stuff like that. And in this, they really did. I mean, they could have been substituted for any generic CG monster, and I was so disappointed with that. I mean, like the robots looked cool.
The robots were cool, but the kaiju, I don't know, it's just stupid. And they're all different, I think, but they all, to me, they all just look the same.
They look, kind of like JJ monsters a little bit.
I hate that.
Yeah.
What do you think? Save some time and call it
3,
good?
2.5.
Pacific Rim, that's our dual review. If you want to check out me bitching about it more, check out my solo review, which is called Nate's Pacific Rim Review.
Yep.
Thanks very much for watching.